friends, welcome back to my channel, you guys. And so it's been almost like 2 weeks since I've turned 20. I've just been reflecting on the direction I want this YouTube channel to go. I think that the next few videos I'm going to be uploading are going to be applying God's principles, God's word on practicality of life. That's like self-development and stuff like that, but it's going to be faith focused. So I'm going to be touching on things that I personally am going through at the moment. But right now in this season of my life, I'm focusing more on my finances and planning ahead when it comes to retirement and whatnot, investments. So I want to talk about money with you guys because money is such a taboo topic. It's controversial. Money is very, very important. That's the reason why we wake up every morning, go to work. We spend most of our life working. Money is important. And if you don't think that money is important, then you're a liar. Money is power and money is not bad. It's just depending on the person who has access to the money. Money is power. So the more you have it, obviously you have more power, and whatever you have in the inside of you, you're gonna manifest it using the money that you're gonna have. So I don't think I can love my family fully or completely until I get a hold of my financial health, because at the end of the day, like when I die, am I gonna be leaving them with like debt, or am I gonna be leaving them with fortune? Proverbs 13:22, it says, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. The important part I want to highlight on this, it says his children's children. So not only his children, but it goes through generations. The way I want to do this, I was praying to God about it because, I don't want to deceive people, or I don't want to make money in the wrong way. And God has brought me to a Bible verse, Proverbs 10:22. The blessing of the Lord, it maketh rich and addeth no sorrow. There's so many people nowadays who have so much money, but it brings them sorrow, the way they make their money. For instance, girls nowadays doing like OnlyFans or doing the adult film industry. And it's a hard industry to get out of because they're making so much money, Transitioning from making so much money to just working an average job is a hard thing. My biggest problem is the people who are paying for these subscriptions, people who are like, like drug dealers, they can't even go to sleep peacefully because even though they're making money, it adds them sorrow. So I was praying to God to help me, help me, guide me on how to, come about and think about money in a positive way, on how God thinks about it. Because at the end of the day, we're only human. I also understand that like sin is overtaking the whole world. I understand the struggle of lust, and I'm no perfect by any means. I struggle with my own things. In my 20s, I want to make sure that I create a foundation right now so I can set myself up for success. I grew up very frugal. My parents, they would not give us the original of things. Like we wouldn't get regular Oreos. It would be off-brand one until a certain age. That also plays an impact on how I view money. I don't overconsume, but I do spend a lot of money when it comes to experiences, food, and I'm the type of person to pay for everyone. So I'm working on that this year. I want to first talk about the outline of my history of jobs so you guys could kind of get an idea of where I've worked. I first started working when I was 14 and I got a job at Chick-fil-A. I remember even riding the bus just to go to work, and there were instances where I would walk an hour to go home. So that was Chick-fil-A. And after Chick-fil-A, I've worked at many fast food or like concession stands. I worked at NASCAR. After Chick-fil-A, I worked at NASCAR. I've worked in their food truck and concession stand business. And third job was Burger King. That's when I really understood the fast food industry. After Burger King, I worked at Taco Bell. It was such an experience for me because I remember I would go to the gym and then walk all the way across the street to Taco Bell. So I would make sure I would go to the gym before I would go to work, and I would go to work till like 11 p.m. And I remember there was a time where me and my sister were literally working till like 2 a.m. on like a school night, or school day. We would work till 2 a.m., wake up at like 5 or 6 a.m., and we would go to school. Sometimes we'd even show up to school. After that, I worked at Food Lion. It was closer to my house. So that's when I first started driving. I hated it. After that, I said I don't ever want to work retail, and I never worked retail ever since. I don't like retail. So from 14 to 18, that's where all I worked, mainly fast food, concession stand in the food industry. Right before I turned 18, I graduated high school. So I remember the summer of after I graduated high school, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do in life. All I knew was I either want to do nursing or do something with photography, because those were my two passions at the moment. So I remember I actually got a job at the hospital. I worked as a patient transport at the hospital. With this patient transport job, it's such an amazing way to get yourself into the hospital with little to few experience. You don't really need that much experience, and it's the best job ever, because when I tell you guys, in a span of one day, I go from the basement of the hospital to the fourth floor of the hospital. And the hospital that I was at, the basement was where the morgue was, the cleaners and like the janitors and the dietary and stuff like that for the cafeteria was. The first floor was emergency department, ED. The front desk was where all the machines were, x-rays, MRI, ultrasound. Second floor, this was where PACU was, the operation room. I remember it was always so cold there. Third floor was med surg, and the fourth floor was ICU slash I think labor and delivery. I think labor and delivery was either fourth floor or third floor, but I remember that the labor and delivery side of the hospital was very spacious. Like I just remember the rooms being it was a suite, and they had like a really nice balcony. So that's kind of how I would transport patients from either going from the ED to get their x-ray, or I would literally help kids that just got born, help them and their parents get discharged out of the hospital. There were instances where I even had to deal with patients from the ED, they died, they passed away, and I would take them to the morgue downstairs in the basement. And obviously there were security with us. I would transport them from the bed to the stretcher and carry it to the morgue, push it to the morgue. And the hardest task I remember was I was in the ICU, and when you go to the ICU, the patients have so many like stuff attached to them, AKG even. So I remember I had assignments where it was just me and the nurse, and we would push it all the way downstairs because they needed to get tested for something, first floor. The bed was huge. AKG, so me pushing one hand like this. Mind that I'm horrible at driving, y'all. I'm horrible at driving. And the nurses would be like, "You're so good at doing this, such an expert." And I'm like, I would deliver patients when they were post-operation or like pre. I would like take them to the second floor, and it was such a tight space, and I remember I would like bang them around the walls. Oh my goodness, you guys. That was such a great experience for me. I had coworkers that were either getting hospital hours to become a physician's assistant. I had pre-med all around the medical field. As a patient transport, we communicated a lot with the nurses, so I kind of got to see what the nurses were doing. I would ask the nurse if I could take their patient. That's mainly why. I've also talked to some respiratory therapists. I had to make sure that whenever I had to transport a patient with oxygen, making sure that they had oxygen with me, and making sure that I remember it's like 2,000 millimeters, and the respiratory therapist would make sure that we have we use up the ones that are not done yet. And I remember I'd be like, I can't do that because I'm gonna get in trouble. That's the hospital job. And the photography studio, I did this at the same time, by the way. I was working both jobs. And with the photography studio, you guys, I loved the experience. I focused mainly on senior portraits. I've also done photography, sports photography. I love sports photography. I did a lot of traveling. They paid for my hotels. I remember I would have hotels just by myself. I would travel with other creatives, and these other photographers also were working jobs on the side. It was just a way to connect and network with other photographers around the city that I was in. I also got an experience with customers, with parents, with posing and students, and overall it was just a great experience where I can learn and also show the photography skills that I have. I did learn so much more about the photography business aspect of it. I really loved it, but I think that after I saw that the amount of money that they were charging versus the amount of money we got paid, I was like, oh my goodness, this is not fair. And I respect the photography business. You can make so much money off of it. That was when I was 18. And around 19 was when I transferred over to serving. So I quit both of those jobs because I was like, okay, really great experience, but I started serving now. And there's a lot of money to be made in serving, especially all cash. So I remember and the shifts were short too. The shifts were like 4 to 5 hours. And it's quick money like that. Quick money. Quick money, you guys. I just was like, I'm gonna stack up my money. But I knew in the back of my head that I did still want to go to school and stuff like that. So I ended up going to school again, but I quit and then I went back to school. That's another story. Let's keep on going with my jobs. So let me know if you guys wanted me to make a whole video about my schooling journey too, or I might do that once I get in the nursing program. After that, I'm like 19 and a half ish to now. I'm working at the job that I'm working now. This job has blessed me so much. It was a God-given job. I love it so much because of the flexibility and the benefits. Like, they're paying half of my braces and they're paying for my school. What else? And they have really good benefits. I feel like I work better with paychecks because when I was working as a server, I did not save a penny, you guys. I did not save a penny. I would just spend my money. But you know what? I just turned 20 and I don't regret anything. You know, I really don't regret anything. I regret this much from not saving a penny at least, but I've enjoyed my teenage years, and better to make mistakes earlier on than later on in life. A lesson too is that if you don't have money to invest at the moment, or if you're still in your teenage years and you're still figuring things out and enjoying your money, if you don't have the money to invest your time in learning. Because although I wasn't investing money at the moment, I was investing in reading financial books, watching a lot of financial videos that kind of set me up to the foundation that I have and I'm starting off with now. I'm very fortunate to have this type of knowledge. As I was praying to God too, I was like, God, so how do I come about being in my 20s and my financial now? And God kind of gave me, it was the parable that Jesus gave, and it was the parable of the talents. And I'm gonna summarize it up for you guys for short, but there was 3 people, right? So the 3 people, one of them had 5 talents, the second one had 2 talents, and the one person had 1 talent. And talent back then was, to the way we have it now, dollars, right? Coins. 5,000 coins, 2,000 coins, 1,000 coin. The master gave 3 of them that amount of money. The one who had 5,000 invested his money, got double, ended up getting $10,000. Second one did the same thing, doubled, got 4,000. And the one with the 1,000 hid the money there. And the moral of the story is these 2 were investing their money, and this one kept their money, aka savings, you know. And there's nothing wrong with savings. We have to have savings, and I'm going to be talking more about the emergency funding. But because of the high inflation when it comes to money nowadays, ideal to save. It's important that we must invest wisely. The lesson I've got from this was manage the little that you have, because if you don't manage the little that you have, how do you expect God to give you more to manage? It taught me the importance between investing and saving, because like I said earlier, growing up with family that have a very bad financial literacy, this has taught me so much. Right now, time is our currency. Time is money. We all have the same amount of 24 hours a day, but some people make more money or make less money. And knowing that and trying to know that that has no control over you is very, very important to me and how I want to have my financial freedom. I love freedom. So how we're gonna do this is, step 1, I'm gonna be paying off my credit card bills. I don't have that much credit card bills, so it's just my statement for the month. I did pay it for some maintenance for my car. I'm gonna be making a budget plan. I can get in depth with that with you guys if you want me to. With investments, savings, so pay off the credit card, and then after that, make a budget plan. And then the third step is going to be saving, having an emergency fund, preferably 5 months worth of expenses, and this is going to be stored in my high yield savings account. I prefer high yield savings account because you earn interest throughout time, so it's not just sitting down in your debit card and not making off money. Might as well make money off of it. My choice at the moment of investment, thank God I started my 401k employer match when I was 19. I started my 401k employer, and I believe that the maximum for this year is 23k, and maybe open up a Roth IRA, and the maximum of that is 7k. But at the moment right now, I'm focusing on my 401k because there's an employer match. And if you have an employer match at your job, take advantage of it because it's free money, you guys. It's free money. And so at the moment, that's what I'm doing for my investment, and I'm gonna be researching more. I think little goes a long way. I like to keep things simple. We're gonna be talking about my career now. So my career is gonna be becoming an RN. I chose becoming a registered nurse because it has a better return of investment when it comes to my money and when it comes to my time. I still have a passion for photography, business, and self-development, and later on, hopefully, I want to get into real estate. At the end of the moment, I want to keep this game plan on, and I'll update you guys as I go about my life. But at the moment, this is where I'm at. This is the foundation of it, and hopefully it's going to help you guys to kind of create a plan for your finances. I have to go.